and I don't want to have that fight anymore. Goodbye. So here we go again on the topic. So hopefully it's going to be somewhat cooperative tonight. Yeah, okay. So even if it's not, I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to fight it. It'll be what it'll be. And that's my tendency. You did it again. You're trying to tick me off, aren't you? You legitimately are picking a fight with me. Anyway, so the fact that I practically threw a temper tantrum last night is not unusual for what I've had to deal with during this month. I don't know why it's doing that right now. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so I have definitely noticed during the course of the month that my mood has been much more volatile. And so like last night, when it did what it just did tonight, it gives me these choked internet connection. I don't know what's going on, but it did it to me, I think twice, maybe 3 times during the course of last night's video. And that was enough to just have me be done. I was just absolutely done with it last night. And so my fuse is really, really short. And it's not because I'm not getting enough food, because I'm getting calorically what I should be able to be happy with. I don't feel hungry. And I'm not achy. And I don't even really feel like I'm craving anything. So I don't think it's the satisfaction of eating that's an issue for me. Like, if you just go too long through the day and don't eat, you can get cranky. I have had no problems with that being an issue in a low carb but not keto diet, because I eat enough that I feel satisfied, and I'm feeling satisfied with what I'm eating now. But just sort of, there's something about it all that makes that something about eating keto. Eating keto does something to make me more volatile, because it's not just being cranky. That's just the one that I'm most aware of, because I'm not usually a cranky person. I don't get hostile or aggressive in most circumstances. I don't get angry or frustrated very easily. I have a very kind of laid back and c'est la vie kind of attitude to life. So to be sort of like, well, except for when I'm in the car. When I'm in the car and somebody pulls out in front of me and I have to tap my brakes to slow down because this person's cutting me off, and if I don't, one of us is going to get hurt or both of us is going to get hurt by their stupid driving, I get a little snappy about that. But this is something that happens almost predominantly in a car, and it doesn't happen in most of the rest of my life. The only exception I would say is a few years ago, about a decade or so ago, when I first became ill, and my cases were being my medical files and cases were being mishandled by medical professionals for 6 months, and I had to fight tooth and nail to get anything taken care of and get them to acknowledge the results of tests that we did. And now that it took me 3 or 4 months to get to the point where I was that frustrated. And, now it's little things are setting me off. Like, it's something within half an hour of something happening, some little thing that shouldn't be that big a deal, boom, sets me off. And so that's the thing I'm noticing most, because it's out of character for me. Now, it's happening in other things, and I had to look for it. where like I had a dream that was kind of a depressing dream, which is stupid. A depressing dream shouldn't derail you for a day. But for like a day and a half afterwards, I was just depressed. Like I couldn't function levels of depressed. And a few of the times where I've been on here, it'd be interesting if I could go back and watch some of them. But some of the project videos that we've been talking about, just boom, get super enthusiastic about it on a level you don't usually see me get super enthusiastic about things, like frantically enthusiastic. So that's sort of a little out of character for me as well. And so I'm manic, I'm depressed, I'm angry, I'm like, and there's another one, I don't know how to phrase it, where like that sort of just kind of like pumped to do something, that enthusiastic, but not like happy, excited, enthusiastic, but more like, we're going to do this. Yeah. And it's just like, I'm not that kind of person. So when I catch myself feeling that way or acting that way, it totally catches me off guard. And so I'm noticing more and more of that type of behavior. And I can only speculate. It would be nice if I had the budget to do a lot of blood testing and MRI scans and stuff like that. But I will kind of speculate a little bit here. I do know that part of your endocrine system is contingent on you getting enough of certain fats in your diet. So eating higher fat levels gives your body more resources to jack up hormone production. And so I would say probably if we did some blood tests, we would probably see cortisol levels and homocysteine levels and potentially testosterone and some other endocrine secretions spiked. But I can't promise that, guarantee that the data on whether or not that would be something that happened would be accurate. So I can't say for sure, but that's sort of where some of my suspicion is right now, is keto affecting my mood may be just a change in my level of stress hormones and my adrenaline and those types of things. So I may be just more not violent, but volatile because of that. Now, I haven't noticed any thinking derangement. Like with the high carb diet, I had disordered thinking and confusion, a little bit of brain fog, not like real confusion, but an inability to focus, very inability to focus attention. So I equate it to what they suggest are the symptoms of ADD. And this, on the keto diet, I don't notice any mental change. I don't know that I'm noticing anything sleep-wise either. I will say that I'm less prone to checking if I got a certain number of hours of sleep, because I wake up oftentimes feeling like I got a good rest. And so I would probably say it was around 5 or 6 this morning when I went to bed, which is, something my body's been doing for years. And I fell asleep and I woke up and I was rested enough that I was like, all right, so let's just get up. And I didn't wake by an alarm. I wasn't woken because I had to be anywhere at a given time. And I think it was probably about 12:30 when I got up. And so I think I probably got about 6, maybe 6.5 hours of sleep, but I felt rested for it. And I don't know if long-term that sort of thing is healthy, because I know, at least from past experience, past evidence suggests that I do best with 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night. So the fact that my body's kicking in at about 6 to 6.5 hours, rough estimate since last night, I don't know if that's going to be more strain or less strain on the body. If the diet is making it easier to get sufficient rest in less time. Really? You're going to connection issues again? Why is this a problem for you? I'm going to keep, hopefully it'll keep recording. But the mood is the biggest thing I notice. Sleep seems to be okay. I'm not noticing a lot with difficulty for exercise. I'm not noticing anything significant, except for part of the food choices, I think, maybe I've made some choices as to what I can do while I'm on the keto diet that push the edge of some things that I wouldn't do otherwise. So I've noticed I'm getting a lot more nightshades in my vegetable choices just because it's convenient and easier. And I do know that I get joint pain from that. So I feel like I can't get a clean answer as to whether or not higher levels of fats are a potential instigator for some of those symptoms, or if that's just because I'm getting more of a nightshade. So like I'm a little like sore in some spots right now, but I don't think it's the keto diet affecting my ability to exercise. I think that's just too many nightshades in a short period of time. I will say digestively, I don't think it's done any damage to my body. I'm not getting a lot of fiber in my food, and my body seems to be okay anyway. And none of the foods that I'm really eating should be upsetting my digestive system terribly much. I've had a few rough days, and I think some of that was just down to like too long without eating, or eating too much of a given thing at a sitting. Like when I make egg salad, it's like 4 eggs and a bit of homemade mayonnaise. And so you're probably talking about 5 eggs worth of something, and then I put it on top of pork rinds. That's a calorie hit real fast. It's a lot of calories in one go. And so my body may react to that a little bit differently than other people's. I think the other thing I have to say is, in order to maintain a level playing field for caloric burn, I've had to back off my exercises, and I'm a little worried what that's going to be like when I get back to doing them. So when this week is over, ramping up my exercises in a different way, I'm a little worried I'll lose some of the progress I made. And I'm also like, I'm not looking forward to doing the protein one, because when I do that, I'm going to have to back off of some of the exercises then too, to meet the 2,000 calories a day caloric intake without exceeding about 800 to 900 caloric burn for exercise each day, which is roughly what I did for that first carb diet. And so trying to keep all things equal, keeping that balance is going to be a little difficult to manage right. and maintain the benefits of improved capabilities that the exercises are doing. Because that's the thing. I'm not looking for muscle gains. I'm not looking for a bicep the size of my head kind of thing. That's not my goal. And I'm not looking to, pack on a 6-pack abs, get monster pecs, or, have that huge neck and shoulders situation going on. That's never been my goal. And, I'm not looking to lose weight. I am watching my weight to see any response to dietary differences, but I'm not looking to lose anything. And in order to maintain a steady weight with each of these diets at a 2,000 calorie intake, I have to match my caloric burn each time I do this. And my increased capabilities have made it a little more difficult to maintain the level of working out that I can do now without burning, 1,200 to 1,500 calories in a day. And so, I have to cut that almost in half. And it's so I'm kind of hoping that at the end of this week, I'm going to be doing I still call them Plyo, because quite frankly, everything I've seen that works with explosive muscle fibers, the fast twitch muscles, are also touted as plyometrics or plyometrics. And so I'm just going to call them that. I don't know if it's actually accurate. I don't know if most of those exercises really do anything for it. But, from my energy into the exercise in a matter of a few seconds. And you do reps like that. Whereas with a weight lifting, you're not looking for an explosive on most occasions. If you're going to do a bench press, you're not trying to pitch that barbell way above you in a split second. Maybe you are. I don't know. I don't know how people do weight training. That's later for me. That's all the way out into November into December range. But for training fast twitch muscles like jumping, sprinting, you can do kicks and punches. That's really the big ones, I think, at this point. And that's really just to get the explosive. Now, the big part of that I'm struggling with is how to measure the starting point and the progress as I go. So I feel like with the jumping is an easier one to do. And that's, how high can you get? Or how far can you jump? And those are measurable. I could probably do a series of short sprints, like a start, start from still, and then, it's not even a meter, or well, not even 100 meter, not a 10 meter. You're really talking more like 6 feet, from starting block to 3 steps or 5 steps out, and then stop, get back to the starting block, and just go again. And how fast can you go from 0 to 6 feet? Something like that. That might be a possible means of measuring. The punches are a little more difficult to figure out. I could switch in something like I guess they call them Plyo push-ups, where what you're doing is you're starting a push-up, but instead of gradually pushing yourself up, you're pushing with a rapid push to see if you can get yourself off the ground. Or if you do it on an incline, you can do push yourself off of a surface. So set yourself at an incline. In this case, I think one of the potential ways to do that is an incline, and see if I can get from a certain angle to upright and do a certain number of reps that way. And if I can get that to work, increase the angle from which I'm doing it from, or increase the number of reps I can do that for. That's my best assessment of what I could probably do for a measurable means of doing that. I might do them one-armed too, to just see if that makes a difference. So like left arm, right arm, see how much of a inclined push-up I can do at a punch speed sort of thing. So that's my best assessment as to what I can think to do to measure fast twitch muscle improvement. I'm trying to keep in mind, like, I feel like I want to do a well-rounded set of muscles that I work that way. But I like when you're working with body weight exercises for the most part, you can get away with doing lunges, squats, push-ups, and pull-ups, and that'll get almost all of your muscle groups. And vertical jumping is very close to a plyo squat, essentially. And horizontal jumping is very close to a plyo lunge. And the push-ups are, you can do a plyo version of that. And I think that's probably the best approach to go because you're working most of the muscle groups. But I feel like there's also, with the vertical jump, you're doing a straight up jump. With the distance jump, you're doing a forward jump. I feel like there should potentially be a side to side jumping. And it should be like it's not a hop in the air and switch your trajectory kind of thing. It should be more of like a push to the side, so you can get the push force exercise on like the sides of the body that are being used to do those pushes. And I don't know if I'm just talking out my butt on that one because, like I said, I can't find useful information about muscle group targeting for fast twitch muscle exercises. There's a lot of bro science and a lot of those gym guy theories and talks of things, and like the very next video you're going to watch is somebody telling you that that's a bunch of baloney because that exercise doesn't do anything actually. There are people out there like, you take a barbell and you put it up behind your head and you're going to work this. And like, actually, turns out there's no benefit to doing it behind your head that you can't get from in front of your head. And there's a greater risk of tearing your rotator cuff if you do it behind your head. Okay, so fine. So the first guy's wrong and the second guy's right? Do we know that? Are we sure? The information out there that's just on weightlifting and what's the best and most effective set of reps to do. That isn't even talking about fast twitch muscle targeting because I don't think anybody's doing it. Or if they're doing it, they're doing it under some woo-woo science, pseudoscience theory of how the body works. And usually it's within an hour or two of doing a little research on some of those topics that you find out like, oh, this is not based on any real evidence or science that I can find anywhere. This is some gym guy's theory of how things work. And I've had conversations on a few occasions with gym folk who are like, yeah, you gotta eat these foods to raise your testosterone levels. I'm like, son, my testosterone levels are actually higher than a teenage boy going through puberty. It's just one of the quirks of my endocrine system. I've got a really high level of testosterone. I don't look hairy. I don't look muscular. So that suggests that my body's not using it the same way as other people might be using it. So different bodies using different levels of testosterone despite different levels of production of testosterone yeah, seems to me like maybe they don't know what they're talking about. And, the people out there are like, well, if you've got really high levels of testosterone, you should be excited because it's going to give you a whole lot of advantage. And I'm like, that's sort of like those idiots who are out there looking at their field of crops and saying, well, if we put a little fertilizer on them, it'll make them grow a little better. So if we put a lot, it's good for them. And that's how you burn a crop with too much of nitrogen and ammonia in the soil, and you get failed crops that way. By the same token, just because a little bit can help boost performance doesn't mean a lot is good for long-term health, healthy fitness levels, or performance. There's a burnout level where too much testosterone could damage you more than it helps you with any gains. And I think that's the other thing I always struggle with, is a lot of these people talking about the gains they made. Like, I'm not looking for your gains. Most of the gains these people are talking about is looking ripped and looking big. That's their interest. And I can't ever seem to get any of them to stop and ask, what are my goals? Because there's always just that assumption that my goals are going to be to get big and ripped, be a massive hulk of a man. Like, that's not my thing. That's not my goal. And so a lot of that advice is targeted towards people doing that. That's not me. So a lot of that advice out there is not fit for what I'm trying to do. And I think the reason I keep trying to emphasize that is I'm not doing what most people are trying to do. So I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm not trying to get big and muscular. Those are two things that a lot of people are trying to do when they look to a new exercise routine. So if I'm not trying for those things, this isn't a series of experiments for those results. Don't use what I'm doing to do those things. Because if I were trying to bulk up, I would be eating 3,000 calories a day and increasing my workout load, not trying to back off my workout load and keep at 2,000 calories a day. So I'm not doing the typical thing with those things. We also know at this point, hopefully, if you've watched any of the other videos and me doing these kinds of things, my digestive system is not the same as everybody else's. Mine behaves badly under certain circumstances. We also know that my body, talked about it earlier tonight, my body responds very badly to excessive levels of nightshades. Yours may not. My body responds with ADD and sleep disruption and other problems from high carbohydrate intake. Yours may not. I retain water after carbohydrate intake. You may not. So yeah, let's not use me as a measure of what's the correct way to approach your diet. But what I do want to say is I'm doing this to learn more about how my body responds to different ways of eating and different types of exercise. And I test the waters, I learn a little bit about how my body responds, and then I listen to my body and make it match my goals. If anybody takes anything away from these, is that's what you need to be doing, is start simple, test some things out safely, learn how your body responds to those things, listen to it, and then figure out, based off of what you're learning, what best matches your goals, not what some guy on the internet says you should be doing to get big or to lose weight or whatever else you need to do. That, I think, overall has sort of been the argument I wanted to make from the very beginning. Part of the reason I'm doing these things is because I got so fed up with all the bro science and the fitness experts and the gurus out there who are telling you, like, a calorie is a calorie, or keto's the best thing for maintaining this level of whatever. Like, they don't know you. They don't know your lifestyle. They don't know your fitness level. They don't know whether or not your knees are up to the level of exercise you're going to be putting yourself through. And they don't know if you're looking to get big and strong or if you're looking to lose weight. They're going to make the assumption that you want to be a muscular person. And they're going to make the assumption that you want to lose a certain amount of weight. And those assumptions may not be the course that's best for you to be healthy. So I think my just exploring what works for my body and what my needs are might be interesting to see and talk about, but it's not a plan for you to follow. The only person who can tell you what you need to do is you working with maybe your doctor or somebody who can inform you reasonably about the science of what you're doing. And listen to your body. That's really the biggest, most important thing. You may need a counselor in there too. If you have a strained or unusual relationship with food, you could very easily end up with a situation of calorie counters where people develop a fear of food, or even to a certain degree, like if you wake up hungry every morning and you feel that hunger and you think that letting yourself be hungry earlier in the day for a long chunk of time is helping you be healthier, you may rewire your brain to recognize a symptom of discomfort and disruption of your healthy body function to be a positive sign. So you may crave making yourself hungry every day. And that too can be destructive. And so I do think, having some outside reference for what you should be paying attention to and what might unhealthy mindsets to get trapped in, that's important to do. But don't let anybody tell you they know exactly what's right for you. Anybody who should be advising you about what to eat and what exercises to do should be listening to you talking about how your body is responding. It shouldn't be a prescription of do 47 push-ups every 2 days to improve your health. Somebody should say, well, we can look at some body weight exercises and see how your body responds to doing some of them. If you feel any strain, back off. And we'll meet again in a little while and talk about your progress and any problems you may see with a certain course of exercises. That's the kind of response you want. Not somebody with a whiteboard or a chalkboard standing in front of a camera who's going to tell you that you need to not have peanut butter because it has a carbohydrate content, and you don't want to get above a 7 to 8% carbohydrate content because that's the best way to make sure you're in keto. When for somebody your size and activity level, ketosis can be maintained maybe at 15 to even 30 grams of carbohydrate in a day. They don't know what your situation is, and they're not listening to how your body reacts and responds. So that was sort of my little rant here. We're at 35 minutes in almost, so I think I'm going to call it here tonight, and I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday, right? So we're almost halfway through the week, last week of keto. I can't wait. And then, I think I'm gonna figure out the best way to chart the exercises. I haven't started doing any plyos yet because I want to get a starting measure on what I can do. So I think I'll probably aim for like Saturday being my first day to try, we'll see. We'll see what that looks like. It sort of bumps my schedule a little bit because I wanted to start doing it this week, but it's not as practical to pull off right now. I'm kind of hoping that being able to get off the keto diet will facilitate, once I don't have to watch my calorie count and how much activity I do in a given week to keep my exercise calorie burn down, I feel like I can just go whole hog into the plyo or fast twitch muscle-based exercises. And I'm looking forward to that. I want to be doing those right now. But it's complicated by all the other crap I'm dealing with right now. All right. So I think I'm going to call it there for tonight. I thank you for joining. And I will see you tomorrow. Take care. And have a good night. Oh. And I will try not to get cranky if everything behaves badly again tomorrow. I don't know why it's being a dork lately. It just is. It's just the nature of things, I guess. But nope.